And then it really started to take off, right? It really started to get crazy. So by December, after about 6 months, I had like 90,000 monthly unique views. And that was like, that's bigger than the first paper I worked at as a reporter. Like out of college, I worked for a little paper with 60,000 readers. I think, this is nuts. Like for zero cost of entry, really nothing. You can build a worldwide brand. And I was struck by that this morning with the BBC guy. I was thinking like this whole concept of the BBC and the ABC and all these other sort of, these broadcasting companies that were defined by where they're located is kind of ridiculous now, because Fake Steve is, there's Russians. I put dirty words in Russian in once in a while early on just to see what would happen. My wife speaks Russian. And I just instantly get all these comments like, do you know what that means? Like, oh, yeah. But yeah, they're all over the place. There's people, there's basically a worldwide brand. It's now, anyway, it went from 90,000, it's now 1 million, right? But when it got to be 90, they set up this manhunt to figure out who I was, right? And Valleywag kept, with this big site in the Silicon Valley, kept trying to guess who it was. And they kept guessing wrong, which was hilarious. They'd say, tomorrow, we have it, and they'd run the wrong guy. And then I would taunt them a little bit. But the one guy had a manhunt for Fake Steve and had announced a reward. If anybody could find out who Fake Steve was, he'd have a reward, which was really cool. One huge problem is that guy launching the manhunt is the publisher of Forbes, right? So he's my boss, right? So who has a blog, right? And he lives in Silicon Valley, and it's like Rich Carlgard, he's a friend of mine. And I would see him at a conference and be like, hey, what do you know? Like we had dinner during this whole craze, he would send around Fake Steve items like, did you see today's Fake Steve? And I'd be on the mailing list at, inside Forbes, like, this one's hilarious, haha. I'd be like, oh yeah, pretty good, But then I was kind of pissed because I'm thinking like, they kind of had figured out that Fake Steve must live in Boston because they sort of could tell from my IP address. I sent email to people stupidly. And so Cargod, who's my boss, is writing things like, he seems to be someone who lives on the East Coast, maybe around Boston, and covers tech, but we have no idea who it could be. And I'm like, I must be really setting the world on fire, in my day job, like, woo, So at about this time, I went to New York, and I'm asking them, one, to give me a raise, and two, I had this idea for a blog network. Blogs are all great. And literally in this meeting, another editor in the meeting is like, yeah, why don't we do something like that Fake Steve stuff? And I'm like, I could do that for you. I could give you something just like that. Like, nah, not you. Anyway, so the answer was no. No to a raise, right? And no to blog. We don't like these blog things, right? So I was so kind of pissed that I went back to my hotel room and I wrote Cargod an email that said, like, as Fake Steve, like, hey, because he was sending me story ideas and I was like, how'd you like to hire me? You think Fake Steve would work out? And he wrote back, oh, Steve, we love you. Yes, who are you? Are you a screenwriter? My God, you're a genius. We'd love to hire you to do a column, right? So I'm like, how much would that pay, right? And I was thinking, like, I'm going to get fired. Like I thought, at this point, I'd gone around the bend. Like, I knew, like, when this comes out, I'm dead. I'm going to get fired for sure. And then the real turning point for me was when I realized I didn't give a shit anymore. Like, even if they fired me, I don't care because I'm having so much fun and I can't stop doing this. It was, like, addictive, right? So that was that. I finally told them who I was. Oh, meanwhile, the company that owns half of Forbes is this private equity company in Silicon Valley. They started writing to Fake Steve, wanting to invest in this. I'm like, cha-ching, right? Like, like venture money, I don't know what I would do with venture money, but, spend it, right? I'd get a nice car. This is the first thing I'd do, right? This is why I'm not an entrepreneur, I guess, But so it's like, looking at Mercedes online. Yeah. So they wanted, I had my agent, I have a literary agent, by then I had sold the book, and she actually had meetings with Elevation without telling them who I was, and we were going to set up a meeting where I would use a fake name. I couldn't do that, so I finally just told Forbes that I was the one doing it, and they all pretended to be happy, and things like, oh, great. So now actually they put ads on it, so now we have, like, it's actually a business. I get paid every month, and it's in addition to my day job, I write this blog, and it says, a Forbes.com site, and they have, big, ugly ads on it. And I think for Forbes and for me, it's been this sort of journey of figuring out, like, new media and trying new things. And I was actually kind of psyched that that the response was, to go along with it. I don't know how much time okay, so the why does it work is the interesting part, right? And I used to think it was just because, like, I'm such a great writer, I get this audience, woohoo, But no, right, it's not that. What I realized is it's the audience, right? And this just occurred to me, a while back, because right now, like, the thing almost writes itself. I get like 25 to 50 emails a day on this Gmail account where people send in links or photos. People make me Photoshop things. They make me videos. And the idea is just roll in. All I have to do is kind of sit there and catch the stuff and kind of keep posting it. And I mean, I write some stuff just out of my own, imagination too. But a lot of it is just driven by that. And I'm amazed at how much people love to be on a blog. They love to see themselves in print. And if all you have to do is you use their thing and say, much love to Bill for sending this in. People get excited. They're like, oh my God, I got on Fake Steve today. And I do think there's some lesson there to be learned about the future of media and about where big brands have to go in terms of letting the audience in and letting them participate. I think it's sort of the wisdom of crowds idea or the open source idea that there's about 600,000 unique visitors. So 500,000 people, whatever, are obviously going to be way funnier than any one person could ever be, right? And what they all get off on, it's almost like a performance space. There's, in the comment section, there's people who just comment on everything and have these, and they're like showing off. And there's a guy who calls himself Fake Vladimir Putin, who comments on like every story, right? There's a whole skew. There's a fake Noam Chomsky now. There's a fake Hillary Clinton, fake Barack. But the fake Vladimir Putin guy, I don't know who he is, but he's really funny. Like, he's really, really good. And he doesn't have his own blog anywhere. I don't think he exists anywhere except on my comment strings. Like, that's his little performance space. And I think to some extent Facebook and Twitter and these other things, as much as we sit and try to think of like a business model and how are they ever going to make money, I think really what they are is they are performance spaces that people are twittering this event, or at the one at South by Southwest where Sarah Lacey got attacked by Twitter people twittering about her in the audience, right? I mean, that's a performance space. That's people out like as if they were in person trying to out-snap each other vocally. So I think that's kind of what my blog has become, and if I can just sort of let people keep bringing that in, that would be. That's how it'll grow, not from anything I'll do really as much as what the community does. And I think the internet's going to allow groups of people to form these hives in various ways and work together on things. And if you think about what the internet originally was a way for scientists to work together, that isn't so nonsensical that it would allow people to get together and make their own entertainment. I've sort of realized that the time people spend on my blog, posting these comments and arguing with each other and stuff, is time they maybe used to spend watching TV, right? And now they'd rather do this because it's participatory and it's interactive, and it allows them to be the funny guy, not just sit there and watch the funny guy. And I also think a lot of people read my blog almost the way they would read a comic strip in the paper, only the advantage is if you read Doonesbury in the morning, and then if there was a little button right there and you could press it and send Gary Trudeau a note saying, you know what I thought was really funny? You should do a one about Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. And like the next day or, 5 minutes later, it shows up, right? With a little thank you to you. I mean, that's the power of it. People really get off on that. And that is, to me, something that's unique about the internet. And I think that's where the internet gets powerful. Is the first generation was people sort of paving the cow path and sort of doing what they did in old media on new media. So you had, Forbes.com was just Forbes print magazine, let's do that online. And then, the TV side of it, well, let's take TV, but we'll get, a little bit worse TV and we'll make that online. I think where it's going to get cool is where people start taking advantage of things that are unique about the medium, and it can only be done on the internet. So if you think of like the early days of TV, you had Milton Berle, who was a radio guy, and they stuck a camera there, and he just basically did radio with a TV camera. Or then they had vaudeville, but then eventually it evolved, and you had Stephen Bochco. Sort of people stretch the medium, and then you have The Sopranos and The Wire and stuff that's really, really goes far beyond what anyone could do with a 2-hour movie, and certainly what you could do on radio. I think the internet people will find ways, I don't know what they are, but I think people will find ways to sort of entertain themselves in this collaborative way. I just this week in my day job wrote about this new GPS device called the Dash Express, which is an internet-connected GPS thing. I don't know if you've heard of this thing. And it's internet-connected, and the basic idea is if you get enough of them on the road, they're not only getting information like from the satellite to tell you where you are, you're sending information back from your car, and they're tracking where you are and how fast you're moving, right? And the idea is if you get enough of them, the hive can start informing itself about like, oh, this road's got an accident with traffic because we're tracking everybody on it, so go over here, right? That the idea that the group mentality, the group intelligence could be greater than any one thing or anything sending down from satellite, which is, pretty far from making dirty jokes about Steve Jobs, right? But